April is over, and with the end of April, my channel has been in existence for over a year now. I posted my first video on April 27th of 2022, so last week the channel officially turned 1. This also means that I've now done a full year of Logging the Backlog videos, as my first one was Logging April of 2022. It's kind of interesting to look back and see what I was playing then, and if any of those have carried over. Definitely seems like I'm playing more games overall these days, but I don't know that it always translates to more games being completed. Looking at this April though, I've played a number of fun games. I haven't really completed very many, with only one being added to the completed list for this month. Even then, this is more of a game that I'm walking away from than one I finished or earned all the achievements on. I'm hoping that will change next month, but it's always hard to know in advance. What I do know is what I played this month, so let's take a look. As I said, I put aside one game this month in the completed category. I feel like most of my games in this category lately have been games that I'm dropping rather than games that I'm completing the story or getting all the achievements in, but I guess that's just the way it goes, especially for someone like me that can get stuck playing those games that don't have a set end, and you get kind of an accumulation of them over time that eventually you just kind of have to drop some to make space for other games. And the one completed game for this month is Os. This is a free-to-play rhythm game for the PC that I did enjoy, but admittedly I just didn't quite feel like it was for me. It seemed more like a rhythm game for hardcore rhythm game enthusiasts, and while I enjoy the genre, I'm just not really good enough to get full enjoyment out of this game. I was struggling with just 2-star songs and decided that I had enough other games to play that I didn't need to be struggling with a game that was causing more frustration than fun a bit too often. If I had more time for all the games, I'd still probably be playing it, but since I don't, cuts had to be made. The story category is looking a bit different this month, even though only one of these games is technically new to this list. One hasn't been consistently on the list the last couple months. A couple of these are going to take me a while to get through, and oddly enough, the newest one is probably going to be the quickest one to be finished. So the first story game is Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trilogy. I was finally able to get back to playing the Ace Attorney Trilogy this month after 2 months of just not getting around to playing it. Having never played these when they originally released, I have been enjoying my time with them. I'm still only in the first game of the trilogy, but I am getting close to the end of it, as I am on the final case, which I think is actually a bonus that was added later on and wasn't even in the original release of the game. It is kind of an odd game though, with quirky characters and a constant over-the-top feel to it. It also has the premise of Phoenix always being involved with rather serious and complicated cases, despite being a rather inexperienced attorney. These aspects make the characters and game memorable, but it also really makes me glad that I'm not in the world of Phoenix Wright, because it seems like everyone is a potential murderer and their legal system is perhaps even more messed up than ours. Second game in the story list is Stardew Valley. I've been playing Stardew Valley Expanded a few times this month, and I was finally able to get into the summer season. Largely, I've just been working on trying to make money through farming and crafting anything that I can to help me with that as well. That's mainly looked like crafting tappers and preserve jars so far, since I don't have any animals and I don't have enough money to build any of the animal buildings yet. I've also been working on upgrading my tools to copper and have most of them upgraded, with still a couple left to do. Overall, I enjoy my time with Stardew Valley. It's one of those games I can play over and over again, and I don't think I'll really ever get tired of it. Or even if I did, a short break would be enough to make me interested in it again. And having mods that add even more things just increases the ability to find this game enjoyable, and that's kind of what I'm experiencing going through the Stardew Valley Expanded mod here. The third story game is Final Fantasy I Pixel Remaster. So the Final Fantasy Pixel Remasters were released for consoles in April. Having fond memories for the Final Fantasy series growing up, I decided to pick these up and start to play through them from the first installment. I want to be able to review each of them and see how well I think they hold up after all this time. So far, I've enjoyed the game for the most part. There are some systems that feel a bit awkward or dated, mainly the magic and the random encounter rate for the game. The story is also somewhat generic, but for something put out in 1987, and being one of the earliest RPGs that helped influence the genre, it's hard to really hold that against it. It's also possible that because this was so influential that the things that were really revolutionary then now seem generic to us, so there's also that. In terms of progress in the game, I've defeated the first elemental fiend, so I feel like I'm making decent progress, especially for starting this kind of, mid-late April. I'm guessing that of the 3 story games, this will probably be the one I complete first, because it feels like I should be able to make pretty good progress to finish out the other 3 crystals and beat the boss. I'm hoping hoping that it won't take too long, but we'll see how long it does take. Moving on from story games, I'll be focusing on games that I call endless games. These are games that don't have clear-cut endings. They can be more online PvP, arcade, sandbox, creative, simulation, or party games. Some of these are games that I enjoy quite a bit and keep playing off and on, while others are ones that I play for a season and then move on from. This list has a fair number of regulars that have shown up here almost every month. There are a few here that have been on and off the list, and one that is a brand new addition this month. This is definitely the category that tends to be the biggest for me every month because there is the ability for games to be here for long stretches of time, and these games are also ones that are easy to jump in and out of. Some of these I only play once or twice over the month, but they're still played, and so they get added to the list. The first of these is Fortnite. Now here is the only game that has been on this list since the beginning 1 year ago and has been on every list in between. Fortnite continues to be one of my favorite games. We're well into the Fortnite Chapter 4 Season 2, and I am still enjoying this season as well quite a bit. I wasn't super excited about the Attack on Titan crossover, but the new weapons have been kind of fun to play around with. I just achieved Tier 100 at the end of the month, and now I'm working toward the bonus rewards for the season. I really don't see this game leaving my list anytime soon, unless Fortnite does something super dumb or for some reason it closes the game down, which neither of these are things I see happening, so it's probably going to be on the list for the foreseeable future. The second game is Bloons TD6. So the big thing with Bloons this month was the update in early April. We got a new monkey tower, the Beast Handler. Early April was used to try out this new tower and also to go through some of the newly added quests that they added to the game. Most of these were super simple and easy, but they did give out some rewards, so it wasn't a complete waste of time. It had some benefit to it. While I did play quite a bit in early April, Bloons did drop off a bit later in the month. I was active in the contested territories for the month, maybe did an Odyssey, and the family did get a co-op session in right before the end of the month, but that was about it for Bloons this month. Third endless game is Cookie Run Kingdom. I've continued to play Cookie Run Kingdom over this month as well. I continue to feel a bit stuck in the game though. I finished up the third chapter in the Cookie Odyssey, and I'm not really sure how much I've been able to do beyond that. I'm still stuck on dark mode and master mode, and while I can get a decent ways up in the arena, I tend to get stuck at master 3 and am unable to advance higher than that most of the time. I'm not doing bad at the game, but again, I just feel kind of stuck, and that feeling of being stuck and hitting a wall makes the game a little less fun to play. The nice thing about the game is that I don't have to focus too much on playing it for the most part for things, but it is still a game that I'm contemplating dropping. I was wrong that it would be the one most likely to be next since OS won that distinction, but this is still on the bubble. I feel like what is saving it is that it doesn't always require a lot of focus to play, but we'll see how long that keeps it on the list. The fourth game is Marvel Snap. I've continued to be into Marvel Snap quite a bit. I've been working through the current season pass, at least to get the free rewards, as I haven't bought the pass for this season. I think Death has been the only new card that I've really been excited about earning over the last month, so it wasn't a great month in terms of new cards. I've done a few things with decks. I've tweaked a couple of my decks. I've made one new one, and I tried out a couple of other ones, but they just didn't wind up working, and so I wound up getting rid of them. So I've really only added one new deck over the course of the last month. I have still been having fun with the game though. It's maybe not quite as high on my playlist as it was, but it still gets played a good amount of time over the month. The fifth endless game is Vault of the Void. I'm continuing to play Vault of the Void and must admit that I've got very mixed feelings about the game. It's possible that I'm just not a huge fan of roguelike deck builders, as this is the first game I've ever played of that genre. I do get into the game when I'm playing it, at least until I crash and burn sometimes. That kind of makes me less interested in keeping on playing it. But the big problem is that it isn't usually a game that I'm excited to get back into playing. I've been wanting to keep playing it to be able to put out a review for it, but I feel like that's been a lot of my motivation for playing this game lately, and I don't really feel like that's a good thing for the game. And I kind of hate to say this, as I do get into the game to some degree when playing it, and the developer seems very involved in continuing to update the game. I suppose that it's just possible that this is a game that just doesn't click with me for whatever reason. I hope to put out a review for this next month, but I'll get a little bit more time with it before that. I don't know that it will really change things, but I do like to give games as many options as possible before I give it a review. The sixth endless game is Vampire Survivors. Now, this is a game that was in complete contrast to the previous one. Here is a new game to the list that I have been very excited about playing anytime I get the chance. Vampire Survivors is a bit of a hard game to pin down in terms of genre. It's like a roguelike horde attack game. You try to beat waves of increasingly difficult enemies with weapons that you gain and level up over the course of a 30-minute round. The game is really simple in some ways, as the weapons attack on their own and all you really have to do is move around, but I found the game a lot of fun to play. This has been a game I spent a decent amount of time playing over the last month, and I also put out a review for it as well. You can check that out if you want to know a bit more about the game and my thoughts on it. 7th is Rock Band 4. Our family wound up playing a little bit of Rock Band this month. It went okay. We're getting to the last leg of the tour mode, which means that we're running into harder songs. Some of us also decided that this would be a great time to do roles that we're not used to. This resulted in some fails, but overall we made it through without too many difficulties. We maybe didn't get great ratings, but we made it through the songs. Since the whole family really enjoys music, we always enjoy our time with Rock Band. We may not play it super regularly, but when we do, it's a fun time. The 8th endless game is Terraria. Around Easter, my kids had some days off, and one of these days we were able to play some Terraria together. I don't feel like there was a lot of progress made, especially in comparison to some of our previous playthroughs lately, but we still had fun. I spent most of my time trying to correct a mistake I'd made when setting up my chlorophyte farm. I didn't have quite enough time to get things set up all right, because basically I have to eliminate a whole bunch of ground and try to get more underground jungle and make my chlorophyte farm deeper. So maybe next time when we play, I'll be able to get all that finished up. The good thing is with summer coming up, after May, we'll be able to probably play a little bit more regularly and get some of those things done and maybe make a little bit more progress each month. And the last endless game is Minecraft. We also played Minecraft once during the month as well. It almost didn't make it to the list this month, but one of the kids picked it to play near the end of the month. Again, this was another session that wasn't super productive. I was able to start exploring a big cavern that I had found on an earlier play. This resulted in a pretty good haul of iron and also some gold, which I hadn't found before, but there wasn't really anything more than that. I mean, the iron and the gold will come in handy, I think, but I'm really wanting to be able to start to find some diamonds. The good thing is that there's plenty of more room to explore that cavern that I found, and so hopefully I'll be able to find ways to get down a little deeper into areas where I might find some more exciting stuff. We'll see. Finally, we have the games I'm playing mainly to try to earn trophies or achievements for. I may not earn all of them in these games, but I'm striving to earn as many as I feel are reasonable. And the only game on this list this month is Marvel's Avengers. This game moved from the story category to the trophy one as I am working on finishing up the trophies I have left in the game. I was able to complete all the various little story modes, and now I'm just kind of trying to clean up trophies. I feel like I've been able to get a number of trophies completed over the month, but I still have some pretty big ones left to do. The big ones of those are probably going to be the do 50 hive mission trophy and the gain 250 levels over all of the heroes trophy. So we'll see how long those take. I'm hoping that maybe I'll be able to get this into the completed by the end of May, but it might take some time to really get those platinums, and it may be a little bit longer than just 1 month. So we'll see how long that takes. This is what I've been playing in April. I've had a good amount of fun playing games this month, even if I kind of feel like I didn't get a lot of them finished up. I've really enjoyed the new games I've added for the month with Vampire Survivors and the Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster. I am hoping that next month I'll be able to get some of my story games wrapped up and be able to add some new games in the next month as well. How about you? What have you been playing in April 2023? Have you picked up any new releases over the month? Just been playing old favorites? Are you playing games that you're trying to remove from your own backlogs? Let me know in the comments, as it's always fun to see what others are playing and if those games are worth adding to my own backlog. Hope everyone had a great month and that you've been playing lots of fun games. That's all for me for this month, so we'll see you next time.